If you've been trying to talk to your parents about downsizing and every conversation either goes nowhere or ends in frustration, the problem probably isn't your parents. It's the conversation you're actually having. Most adult children walk into this talk armed with logic. The stairs aren't safe anymore. The maintenance is too much. The house is too big. You, as the concerned adult child, have done the math. You've thought it all through. You sit with your mom or dad down and you're ready to make your case. And then they shut down or they get defensive. Or maybe they tell you very politely that they appreciate your concern and they're not going anywhere. And you walk away thinking, why won't they just be reasonable about this? Well, here's what I want to talk to you about today. The reason these conversations stall isn't because your parents aren't being stubborn, although it may seem that way. It's because you're solving the wrong problem. And once you understand what the actual problem is, the conversation changes completely. I'll walk you through what's really going on emotionally for them, why your usual arguments land as attacks, even when you mean them kindly. And I'll go over the 3 questions you can ask instead. Questions that actually open the door to a real conversation. So, what's actually going on? I work with families through this transition here in Guelph and Waterloo region. And the resistance you're running into almost never comes from where you think it does. You're seeing a house, square footage, 4 bedrooms, 2 stories, with stairs that are getting harder, a basement full of stuff nobody uses, maybe a yard that costs your dad 2 Saturdays a month to maintain. And your parents are seeing something completely different. They're seeing the place where they raised you and your siblings. The kitchen where your mom made every birthday cake, or the garage where your dad fixed your first bike, and the wall in the hallway where the pencil marks tracked everyone's height over 20 years until somebody finally painted it over. And I bet your mom probably remembers where every one of those marks was. The house isn't square footage to them. It's their identity. It's the proof that their life happened. When you walk in and say the maintenance is too much, what they hear is your life is too much for you. You can't handle this anymore. We've decided for you, even though that's not what you said, even though that's not what you meant, that's what lands with your parents. So why do your usual arguments backfire? Well, think about the 3 most common things adult children say in these types of conversations. 1, the stairs aren't safe. Translation, in your parents' head, you think I'm old and going to fall. My mom used to bristle at this one because she said she could easily fall in a retirement home as in her own condo, except I said you'd be found sooner in the retirement home. Number 2, the house is too big for you now. Translation, you've decided I'm done with this chapter of my life and I didn't get a vote. Or 3, maybe you've had so much equity that you should sell. Translation, this really is about the money. You're worried about what I'm spending or what's going to be left to you and your siblings. Now, I'm not saying these are fair translations. They're not. You almost certainly aren't thinking any of those things. I'm definitely sure. But that's how they often land, especially if your parents are already feeling a bit vulnerable about getting older. And most retirees do feel this way at some point. So this happened in my own family. My sister had been pushing our mom to downsize for several years of every visit ending in tension. My sister was worried about our mom's safety and falling. Our mom finally told me, I think your sister's just trying to write, my next chapter for me. And I'm not done with the one I'm in yet. My sister wasn't trying to do that. She was worried about our mom, about the way she was talking about her large condo made our mom feel like she was being managed. And our mom had a completely different conversation. When I sat down with her, I didn't ask her about her condo at all. I asked her what she wanted her week to look like over the next several years. And by the end of that conversation, she was beginning to see how her large condo didn't fit anymore. So who does this affect most? Well, if you have a parent over 70 still in the family home, especially one who's been there, let's say 20 plus years, this is probably you. And if there's more than one sibling in the picture, it's even more delicate because now you're not just having a conversation with your parents, you're negotiating with each other about how to have a conversation. So here's a bit nobody warned you about. Often parents who seem most resistant on the surface are actually probably closest to ready. They've been thinking about it already. They know the stairs are harder. They know the garden is too much. They just don't want to be told. This was our mom. She definitely didn't want to be told she was getting too old. She wanted to arrive at it herself. No one wants someone else to make their decisions for them. I want to give you a framework I suggest using instead. Don't talk about downsizing. Talk about the next chapter. That's a small shift in language and a huge shift in dynamic. Downsizing sounds like loss to so many people. Remember, our society talks more, more is better, bigger house, bigger job, bigger career. The aim here is that the next chapter sounds like more of a choice. And whether your parents move in 6 months or 5 years, the conversation you want to have is the same. Here, I want to suggest 3 questions that you can ask. When you can use them with your parents over, let's say, a cup of tea, or maybe you're having a walk or after dinner, you don't need to push for answers in one sitting. Sometimes the answers come, a week or so later. Here's question 1. What does this house mean to you now compared to, let's say, 20 years ago? This is the door opener. It gives them permission to talk about the meaning of the place, not the practicality of it. You'll be surprised what comes out of that question. Question 2, if maintaining the house wasn't part of your week, what would you actually do with that extra time? This shifts them from defending staying in the house to imagining what's possible without it. Notice you're not asking them to leave. You're asking them to imagine a different kind of week for themselves. And question 3, if we had to make a decision about this in, let's say, 5 years, what would you wish we had thought about now? This opens the planning conversation without forcing the decision. It lets them be the one who initiates the next step. Use 1 question per conversation, not all 3 at once. This isn't a checklist. It's a slow unfolding. And what to watch for? Well, there are 3 things to be careful of because I see them go wrong all the time. First, don't bring a sibling as backup. Even if you've all agreed on the plan, walking in 2 against 1 makes it feel like an intervention. Have a conversation one-on-one. The other siblings can stay informed, but it isn't a group meeting. Second, don't talk numbers in the first conversation. The minute you start talking about what the house is worth, what they'd net, what condos cost here in Guelph, you've shifted from emotional to transactional, and they will retreat. Third question, don't bring in an agent too early. And I'm a real estate broker telling you this. There's a moment when bringing me in is exactly right. And it's not the first conversation. It's not the second. It's when your parents have started saying things like, I wondered what we'd actually get for this place. Or I've been looking at those bungalows in Riverside Park area. That's when I become useful. Before that, I'm just another person trying to manage them and their situation. Here's the framework that I want to suggest. You're not trying to move your parents. You're trying to help them see clearly and on their own terms what the next part of their life could look like. That's a completely different job. It's slower, it's gentler, and it does work. And the strange thing, the thing that I've seen over and over, is that once your parents feel genuinely heard, once they feel they're the one driving the next decision instead of being driven towards it, they often move faster than anyone expected because they're already thinking about it. They just need someone to ask the right questions.